Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking on a powerful stack of sources, excerpts from Kate Riley's profound novel, Ruth. Our mission is to unpack this rich narrative following Ruth's extraordinary life journey within her unique community, chronologically, from her naming right through to her later years. We'll be extracting the most important nuggets of insight and surprising facts, helping you understand what makes this story so utterly compelling.
Indeed, and it's more than just a summary, isn't it? It's really an immersive experience. You get pulled into this deeply insular, Hutterite-like world, all seen through Ruth's singular, often questioning perspective. For those who might not know, a Hutterite-like community is, well, it's a communal society. Think Amish or Mennonites in some ways, but they have their own distinct spiritual leaders, a strong emphasis on shared property, collective living. Well, trace Ruth's path, yeah. Noting her evolving understanding of faith, community, and, well, herself as all these events unfold around her.
Okay, let's dive right into Ruth's world then. Starting in Gracefield, 1963, her story quite literally begins with her name. She's named Ruth Della Skoll by her father, but it's a choice her mother, Esther, absolutely despises. Famously compares it to a tuber.
Yeah, the tuber. But Esther, with this sort of benign conspiracy, secretly calls her Maybelline Raisinette. And that hints right from the start at the unique, often unconventional personality that's going to shape Ruth's entire life. A life frequently, at odds with the rigid norms of her community.
And you see that perception early on. Her observations are so vivid. The men are Abraham Lincoln figures, while the women appear like rats in kerchiefs.
Oof, that's quite the image. And that critical perspective, plus her secret ritual chanting names from old photos,
Right.
it reveals this innate longing she has for connection, for meaning, a longing that often chafes against the community's strict rules.
And that questioning spirit really comes out powerfully in that memorable Red Eft incident.
Oh, yeah.
As a child, she tries to protect this little creature. Then she believes it's a holy order, some kind of divine message, and she puts it in dishwashing liquid. It's tragic.
It really is. And her father, just bewildered by her tears, has to figure out how to get it out. That moment of shame, it's like a microcosm, isn't it? Of her later struggles trying to interpret divine messages, understanding her own intentions in a world that doesn't offer much room for individual interpretation.
Yeah, exactly.
We also learn about the revered, almost mythical, Opa and Oma. These leaders, believed to live overseas, sharing responsibility for the brotherhood with God himself.
Right.
So this dual authority, it sets a really complex stage for Ruth's developing faith. Spiritual guidance is both divine and, well, deeply human, but also quite distant.
And her childhood is just steeped in this communal life, isn't it? Her mother in the hospital after her birth, the Brotherhood's intense debates, like whether kids should pray.
Unity is presented as like a spiritual counterpart to physical labor. It binds everyone together through shared effort and, importantly, strict rules.
The specific rules are fascinating, like the first law of Rostorf, strictly no gossip,
Right.
and minor spiritual lapses, they get what's called a little exclusion, a sort of temporary social distancing, which Ruth, as a kid, hilariously mispronounces as exclusion.
Exclusion, yeah. It highlights that constant pressure to conform, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the subtle ways they manage any kind of dissent.
Then there's her father, the steward. His job takes him off the door for their settlement to these institutional trade shows.
Yeah. And he's horrified.
Totally. By the stained Minoan halls of the Ramada, the infamous cocktail weenies.
But what's really interesting here is how this exposure leads to an ice cream deal. With Lucien Dardenne, this guy in a pistachio-colored suit, who apparently began every business day with a prayer.
Huh, really?
It's this delightful detail that just starkly highlights the clash of his insular world with the outside. And, the surprising common ground they find in faith, even with such different lifestyles.
That clash and Ruth's sort of stifled expressions, it really comes through on her 8th birthday, too. She gets a helium balloon, a candy bar. But she gets angry when her mother reboxes her presents, and she slaps the floor. It's described as an impotent gesture.
And Esther just ignores it, tells her, don't show off.
Exactly. It's a recurring theme, isn't it? Ruth tries to express herself individually, and it's just dismissed or redirected.
As she gets older, though, her intellectual curiosity really starts to blossom.
Yeah.
She's scouring periodicals from the outside world, Quaker medics in Liberia, Catholic worker newspapers talking about finding Christ among tramps.
Right.
And this fuels this vivid fantasy she has of Detroit, She imagines herself just landing there, joining the authentic suffering masses.
Wow.
It's such a powerful expression of her, well, her stifled faith and her desire for meaningful action. And it contrasts so sharply with the community's view that people who want to be heroes should stay out of the action.
Okay, so let's move into her high school years. She starts ninth grade at Ojama Heights High School, expecting, fast friendship, diversity.
Yeah, it finds neither.
Exactly. The Dorf students, they just coagulated defensively, and she quickly realizes assimilation. Impossible for the girls.
Mm-hmm. While the boys could sort of shed their traditional chambrays and blend in, the girls' fashion, described as this intricate illogic, it just alienates Ruth. It forces her to question the norms and her own place within them even more intensely.
And during her baptism prep, Gerda, the servant's wife, tries to guide her, probes her about secrets, her attraction to Daryl's stall.
And Gerda's observation is so poignant, isn't it? That she knows no balm for oddness. It's particularly telling for Ruth. Kind of confirms her feeling of being inherently different.
Yeah.
It's during these confusing years that Ruth develops this coping mechanism, the word remarkable.
Oh.
She just applies it to anything and everything. It's a self-fulfilling response
Right.
that lets her navigate this world she often finds perplexing, overwhelming, just by giving it some personal significance.
This search for meaning takes, an interesting turn with Father Vesely's Pysanky eggs.
Oh, the eggs. Right.
For those maybe not familiar, Pysanky are these beautifully decorated Ukrainian Easter eggs, right? Lots of symbolism.
Exactly. And their arrival sparks this community-wide mania for radical decoration.
Yeah.
Some high school girls even try recreating slave cult narratives on eggs for a Black Baptist church, which causes great alarm.
Wow. Ruth's own attempt. It yields Snoopy, Santa, and a misspelled name for her mother. And it coincides with this funny community-wide hatred of omelets.
It just highlights these unexpected bursts of creativity, but also the limits on artistic expression within the community.
Yeah.
Ruth also builds this intricate internal world. She finds an imaginary audience in Calvin, this boy she watches teaching trombone. She develops this feeling, described as nauseated with affection, using every thought, every action as potential sharing with him.
But then in her actual baptism group, she really struggles to define her relationship with Christ. She just can't articulate that personal connection the elders expect.
No. Instead, it's a sunrise hike on Indian Head that brings this moment of profound, wordless spiritual clarity. It transcends their questions. And that tension, between internal experience and external expectation, it's just central to her whole journey.
Her journey then takes another unexpected turn. Instead of Milwaukee, she gets transferred to Edendale, just a 6-minute walk under the overpass.
Yeah, it's described as a forced fledge, a challenge to demonstrate and tolerate generic obedient love as a shalom girl rather than as a daughter.
And shalom girls, just to clarify, are young women in the community who do a period of service or study, often away from family, to sort of develop their faith and communal spirit.
Exactly. And her time at ICC, nicknamed Ick, it offers her this near narcotic sense of invisibility, a freedom from the constant greetings of the Dorf that she finds, profoundly liberating.
It's in a pastry class there at ICC that she meets Chef Paul Ficarello, this giant of a man who bellows, "Young ladies, together we will march right up to science and say, let us eat cake."
Ha ha! What a character. He introduces her to the mysterious 27 pillars of baking and partners her with Kim Medelsky.
Ah, Kim.
Kim, described as a creature of extreme visual interest, and she immediately just unloads on Ruth torrents of personal details. Boyfriend named Scott, Ruth's birthstone being diamonds.
Wow.
It's Ruth's first real naked investigation into a non-member, and it leads to this overwhelming sickness with intimacy, a feeling of bondage, of secrecy, this friendship. It's a seismic shift for her.
And that clash of worlds, it just intensifies when Kim and Scott visit for Saturday supper. It presents this ontological inconvenience for Ruth, like a fundamental clash of realities.
Yes. Yeah, she struggles to explain her community's logic, why a boyfriend is just impossible in her world. She ends up deflecting, describing brotherly things like soil erosion and small engine maintenance.
That's hilarious. And the community's method for curing stray intimacies through triangulation.
Bringing in the third person, yeah.
It's shown humorously with Hildegard Hauptmann in The Baby House, but Kim, with her charm, actually gets a rare shape of smile from the usually stoic Hildegard.
It just underscores Kim's transformative effect, doesn't it? Her stories from Moody's Diner captivate everyone at supper, even the precociously grim Robert Mueller, whose parents have been praying for him to laugh since infancy.
Incredible.
It's a testament to Kim's vibrancy, the power of stories from outside, and then Kim makes that stark offer.
You've got to get out of here. You could stay with my family.
It's such a pivotal moment, isn't it? A real window to a different life, though Ruth doesn't immediately jump at it.
No, she doesn't.
And then her education is just abruptly canceled after one semester. Gerda explains she's needed in the office for stenography, archives.
Right.
Ruth's reaction is ambivalent, and she quotes Simone Weil, which Gerda just dismisses, saying, "We mustn't let religious language get in the way of our daily work."
Ouch. It just clearly shows how Ruth's intellectual, her spiritual pursuits, they often clash with the community's very pragmatic demands. It forces her creative thoughts into these more, well, private channels.
Then comes marriage. Her marriage to Alan Feder is described as urgent. It's a double wedding to accommodate someone else's, Benji Blosher's incipient death.
Yeah. They answer the marriage questions, ate peppermint cookies, and led the chivalry into the icy new year. A chivalry being that noisy mock serenade for newlyweds, a folk tradition.
Right, and the honeymoon to Goshawk Lodge.
Yeah.
It's quickly clear it's far from romantic. Alan's extreme caution driving, his obsession with percentages, Ruth just has to let him concentrate on the road.
Yeah, it dampens any romantic ideas she might have had.
She tries to share this, painterly vision of them eating pie at a restaurant, but Alan's just focused on finding the right exit. He ends up pulling over just to tell her she missed it. You really see their different perspectives there. And Ruth feels manic with uselessness at the lodge. She realizes how much structure her daily life in the community provided, even the parts she avoided.
She actually boldly asks Alan if he requested other sisters before her.
And he reassures her she was his one and only. But then the photos from the honeymoon camera, the 4 prints, they're a letdown. Just stiff poses.
Which leads Ruth to conclude that cameras were creative rather than documentary machines. Such a deep insight into how subjective perception is.
It really is. The Feders eventually moved to Cedar Hollow, this big stone manor house, 38 rooms, acquired under kind of mysterious circumstances.
And it's here, in the 1980s, that a pall comes over the community with the AIDS crisis.
Yeah, it prompts the community to start looking outward, sending young people to volunteer abroad. Ruth observes the delayed gray blur on the faces in interviews with gay men, just terrified by the disease.
And she witnesses the start of the global brotherhood, with its international tie line, connecting dwarfs across continents, leading to this huge emotional communal song. Then Ruth finds herself pregnant. She gives birth to Jamie, a fine purple boy.
And she experiences unhinged laughter during labor and this intense but ambivalent love, realizing she often hated him.
Wow. Jamie's first word is moon, a tiny little rebellion against their predictable world.
And when Jamie gets sick, Ruth sees his misery as suffering without cause or end. It makes her wonder if Christ regards her suffering the same way, drawing this really poignant parallel between his pain and her own spiritual struggles.
Later, Ruth goes through this profound personal decline, weeping at the breakfast table, hiding in her bedroom.
Yeah, it gets so bad her children, even her cat, Gustava, are temporarily taken away. Her youngest, Gretel, becomes the youngest Shalom girl in history.
It's rough, but during this time, Alan stays faithful, brings her meals, prays aloud.
And the servants, Mario and Barbara, they actually ask for Ruth's forgiveness, revealing they feel they failed to support them.
Right. Which leads to this faxed invitation to meet Opie Jorg at Moody's Diner, where he challenges her directly. You begin a sentence I want, then you will not be happy.
Whoa. That's a powerful moment.
Yeah.
A real confrontation, a turning point for her.
The Feders later get moved again to Twin Rivers, a new dwarf. And we learn about this troubling species, the generation that came of age in the jungles of Paraguay.
Right, where the Brotherhood had fled during World War II and were tragically mistaken by officials for Nazis. That history really highlights the community's insularity, doesn't it? And their complex relationship with the outside world.
And for Alan's 30th birthday, Ruth gives him this severely cropped Bible quote, and the secret gift of silence when his words irritate her.
Another subtle example of her internal rebellion, her independent spirit.
She chaperones Jamie and Rose at the pool, noting how the female form persuaded despite itself, especially when wet, requiring multiple layers of dark cotton for modest swimwear.
Yeah, that detail just underscores the community's constant negotiation with human nature and the strictures of their faith.
They attend a pro-life fellowship in D.C., and Ruth sees Somalian nuns, and it makes her question the value of a person by the suffering they might cause. She weeps quickly beyond the children.
It's another moment of really deep spiritual and ethical questioning for her.
Then there's the sock story, and the unsettling phrase sex sucks that comes up in a global brotherhood meeting.
Yeah, Jorg is admonishing the community to show more love to their young people amidst temptations. It reveals that ongoing struggle, doesn't it, to maintain their rules in a changing world.
And Jamie has his own rebellion hitchhiking to Winnipeg, leads to a 2-month exclusion.
hmm His letter from L'Arche in St. Paul mentions yarn crafts and a roommate named Clive. But his return is marked by this faked voice asking the Brotherhood's forgiveness. It's such a complex mix of youthful defiance and, well, forced conformity.
Yeah, it really is.
Ruth and Alan eventually move again, this time to Hazelvale, another new Dorf. Ruth finds it safe immune as a diplomat on gleaming linoleum.
And it's here, at 51, that Ruth starts drawing birthday announcements on the shop whiteboard.
Her calling emerges.
Right. Despite limitations, censorship, she finds this profound joy in her private diversionary bee dance, finally finding a creative outlet that feels truly hers.
And her marriage to Alan is depicted now with 3 flat screens on his standing desk, a faceted mirror for observing each other. His job is product delivery.
Hers is to stay alive.
Wow.
In a really introspective moment, Ruth confesses to Alan about her pervasive sins of omission, realizing they defied enumeration. They far outnumber her measly occasional sins of commission.
That's a powerful revelation. It shows her deep self-awareness, the rich hidden landscape of her internal life.
The book concludes with Ruth and Alan visiting Jamie. He's been gone from the community 18 months now. They meet at Union Station. And Ruth is just struck by his beauty. And this powerful realization hits her. Her son belonged outside the church.
And Jamie affirms her, doesn't he? In this incredibly moving moment, he asks, "You look happy, Mama." Yes, you do, I think.
Yeah. That moment of being truly seen by her son outside the community's confines, it's just incredibly moving. It's a quiet affirmation of her whole journey.
And the book ends with Ruth getting a potted rose from Jamie for her birthday, an act of gratitude that makes her cry, realizing that everything happened so much.
Wow. What an incredible journey through Ruth's life. We've seen her grapple with faith, community, family, herself, often finding herself at odds with the world she lives in, but always profoundly observing, seeking meaning.
Yeah, carving out a space for her true self, even within those very tight strictures.
Her story leaves us with a really provocative thought, doesn't it?
It does. In a life defined by such communal expectations, how do you cultivate and express your unique identity, your spirit? And what does it mean to be truly seen? Not just by your community, but maybe by those who understand you beyond its boundaries.
We hope this deep dive into Ruth has given you a shortcut to being well-informed and left you with plenty to ponder. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word.